talk Australia Open tennis. It's going on. It started this week, obviously. Before we get to the tennis itself, let's talk about your boy. Let's talk about your favorite whipping boy, one Novak Djokovic. For those of you unfamiliar with this, she has a very special relationship with Novak Djokovic, to say the very least, right? But anyway, this Bama, as the way we're saying, is back in the news. Basically, long story short, unless you're living under a rock,
my God,
this fool was denied a chance to play for a 10th Australia Open title. He's the defending champ, by the way, because the country denied him entry and canceled his visa because he failed to meet the requirements for an exemption to COVID-19 status rules, vaccination rules. So what does that mean, folks? It means this. Every country has a set of vaccine, like COVID protocols. You got to make them. You got to meet those protocols if you want to sit your ass in that country. Let's tell you this right quick. Over Christmas break, we went to Maui. And even though Maui, the Hawaii is part of the United States, they have COVID regulations too because they're not part of the contiguous 40.
Under the United States, yeah.
Right. The contiguous 48. So they rely on exports and everything. So everybody comes from planes, or maybe both of their old school. But the point is that they all have protocols. To get in Hawaii, you got to meet their protocols. Or else your ass is to one of two things: sit in the airport, or sit your ass back home. It's the way it is. Other countries around the world follow the same thing. So this fool thought he could circumvent. I'm just guessing. But anytime people do not meet the vaccination rules, it leads me to believe they're trying to skirt it some way, somehow. And I think he was unvaccinated for a while. I don't know if he just got vaccinated or whatever.
He is not vaccinated.
No, he's not vaccinated.
Oh, he's still not vaccinated. Okay, so there you go. There you go.
See, that's part of the story, though, Scott, is the fact that he claims he caught COVID, and that should have made him, what's that, immune compromised? Did I say that correctly?
Well, you got the antibodies. Like you know,
the antibodies, yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But that's a whole other part of the story, though, Scott. And I know Janina most definitely wants to get into that part, too. Oh, my God. I just sat back. Again, like you said, if you didn't hear about this, you had to have been under a rock.
It was on everywhere.
It was everywhere.
Major news.
Oh my God. Everywhere I turned around, it was on. I saw it on Good Morning America. I saw it on BET News, MTV News.
I mean, BET.
I was like, my God, what is BET talking? Okay, I'm being hyperbolic. But still, it was everywhere, and it was insane.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So basically,
y'all talking about this dude like he's Nelson Mandela or something. Like he was going for political asylum. No, he's playing tennis.
Yeah. And
he's in the wrong, but I digress.
Yeah, so he won't get, so it's not likely now. I think it's pretty much almost a done deal because the tournament's already started. So
oh, he's not playing.
Yeah,
he's been deported.
Yeah, so there you go. So he's not defending his title. So Janina, I've been thinking of you this entire week when that news came out. So you know what? I'm gonna sit back. I got my water. I should have had some alcohol. I got some bourbon on the side there, but I don't feel like walking. But the floor is yours, sis. I gotta hear what you guys say about this motherfucker because this is
all right.
I don't know.
Yes, that is right. This motherfucker. That is absolutely correct. You know, if you know me even a little bit, I have called him for years the Serbian Devil. And the Serbian Devil showed all his ass and horns this last couple weeks. So just for a little bit of context.
Yes.
Back in October of 2021, Australia said, you must be vaccinated,
right? Or
you're going to come into the country and you're going to have a strict 14-day quarantine. Right. Okay. But you had to be double vaxxed. It wasn't like, oh, you could have one dose and come or whatever. It was very clear that you had to be vaccinated. Right. So this is October. But you know what? Even before that, let's back up even a little bit more. Novak Djokovic has from the beginning said he's not going to get this vaccination. He is a voice that the anti-vaxxers like to use because oh, well, Novak's not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I need you to also understand that he believes he can, play tennis through telekinesis, and that he was diagnosed with, what is it where you can't eat bread? What is that?
Gluten-free or whatever?
He's glucose. Yeah, he had to eat gluten-free because he went to like some fucking quack doctor and literally put bread on his stomach, literally just sat it on his belly and asked him how he felt. And he felt this inside energy. And that's how he knew for sure that he was gluten-free. I'm not making it. You can't make this shit up. Okay. So I need you to understand that Novak is a little bit weird.
Okay. Look at the way.
Fucking weird.
You've got to. What?
True story. True story.
Oh,
okay.
shit.
So Australia says, you know what, if you're not double vaccinated, you're not coming. Basically, that happens. And then there was a possibility that you could get a medical exemption.
Okay.
But Novak, I mean, I know we don't have 25 hours to talk about this, but I'm going to say that I firmly believe, and so does my team, that he was in cahoots with Tennis Australia, because he kind of got some information that a lay person really wouldn't even be able to interpret properly. Like there were documents already in place, and then at certain times along the way, little pieces of it were changed, the wording was changed, and most people just wouldn't catch up on that. So ultimately what he did was somehow miraculously get COVID. Wait, I'll tell you, I got a timeline because we broke.
I'm sorry, while you're looking for that, I just
shit.
looked up the bread test for Djokovic. My God.
Did you not trust me? Come on.
No, I trusted you, but I wanted to see more details. And you kind of condensed it. You didn't say that. Oh my, he did it during the Davis Cup, and oh my God, look it up, please.
Wow.
Djokovic
During
bread
the tournament.
test.
Damn.
Yes, it was during the Davis Cup. Please, oh my God, people, look it up. This is hilarious.
It is. It's really kind of sad, right?
Oh my God.
So,
My head
anyways,
maybe I should put bread on it.
Oh man.
So Novak decides that his way into Australia really is to get COVID, because he thinks that the wording has changed, and it says if you have been infected with COVID-19 within, I think it was 6 months, and as a result of that, getting the vaccine was going to cause basically some kind of extraneous thing to happen to your body. If you got super, super sick from COVID and getting the vaccine wouldn't be ideal for you, then you could get a medical exemption. Well, let it be known that Novak got COVID, visited a children's hospital, did a photo shoot, and went to Spain and did all of these things knowing that he was supposedly positive, which makes me question is whether or not he was actually positive. Did he just have a manufactured test? His claim really was that he took two rapid tests that were negative, decided to play it safe and get a PCR test, which we know is more sensitive to the virus, and that he didn't get his results right away. Now in Serbia, the results are automated, and you get a text message and an email as soon as they're available. And you better believe that Novak Djokovic got his immediately, which he did. It's been verified. But now he's kind of playing the Maria Sharapova, I didn't click the link thing, saying that he didn't know until the next day. But even if that is true, there is a mandatory quarantine time in Serbia if you are positive, which he also violated. So we just have this big long string of things that he didn't do properly once he found out that he was positive. And he gets his team of lawyers together, files for this medical exemption from the vaccination, and his ass heads off to Australia. Well, he's immediately detained and stripped of his visa. So then once again, his lawyers go to work and basically, uses all of his privilege as a world-class athlete and a white man, and he somehow manages to get a second hearing because they don't like what the initial ruling was and try to get this overturned. This motherfucker managed to have court held on a Sunday so that he could hit a goddamn ball. Now, mind you, he was held. Oh, and while he was being held, he asked for a personal chef. He asked for a tennis court to go practice on, and like all of these special things. They were all denied. But like, who are you? He was being held in a building that have people who have been there for almost 10 years. But yet Novak Djokovic doesn't mention them, doesn't use his platform of privilege to make it known to the world that there are detainees in the same building as him for almost 10 years. But he, you know, has to go play tennis and manages to get court held on a Sunday. Like, okay, whatever. So all of that happens. I did not watch the court proceedings or any of the stuff until it was the Sunday. I was like, yeah, I can't do it. So somebody else did that for me. Thank God, Pablo. But I did watch the stuff for Sunday when the decision was going to be made. This was like the final straw, basically. We were going to know if he was going to get to play. We were going to know if there would be another appeals possible. And the judge, first of all, Novak's lawyers, I mean, if that was my attorney, they'd have been fucking fired. The judge asked the question at one point, and he says, basically, I don't need to cover that. But since you asked, I will. Like, who talks to a judge like that? Who says, I don't need to answer your question? So as I'm listening, it
rich
kind
privilege
of really,
dude, that's who. But go ahead.
It really felt like it wasn't going to go Novak's way. The attorney basically ripped the argument apart piece by piece that they tried for the reasons that he was trying to say that he should be allowed to stay were completely just fucking bullshit. Nothing added up. The timelines didn't add up. The testing dates really didn't add up. The quarantine times. And because, you know, he showed his ass and did all this, he's now being also investigated by Spain because he did travel to Spain supposedly while he was COVID positive. Right, so he not only broke Spain's protocols, but he also broke Serbia's protocols. So everything happens. His attorneys present their bullshit case. I just, the only part that I really want to share, because we've already established that Novak is crazy. His attorneys, part of their argument was that if they do not let Novak play in this tournament, the viability of the future of the Australian Open is on the line, and they are putting their economic future at risk.
Wait, what?
Because that was part of their formal court argument. If you don't let him play, this may be the end of the Australian Open, you know. And so ultimately the court decided that he was a public nuisance, that because of him, so Australia has over 90% of their adult population vaccinated, one of the highest vaccination rates in the world.
Them in New Zealand, they do not play at all.
They shut everything down. They had some of the most barbaric measures. And then here you have this tennis player coming in going, I'm not going to fucking do any of it. And I'm going to come in and play. And they were like, yeah, no, you have, if we let you come in, we're basically sending the wrong message. People might riot, which is in turn going to cause a large gathering that we don't want, like, you know, all of these things. So he didn't get it. When the whole court hearing was finished and everybody wrapped up, Novak's people said, can we please have a response within 30 minutes? And I'm like, what about these people that have been detained for 9 years? What the fuck? And you're talking about give me 30 minutes. And the judge basically laughed. It was a panel of judges. And we're like, yeah, no, we're going to convene. We're going to talk and we'll be back. And tonight or maybe tomorrow, sit tight. So the ruling came out that he was not going to, his visa would not be reinstated. The biggest piece of that, because he took it through this appeals process, and because really he should have gotten on a plane and just went home, and then none of this would have happened. None of it. When he got there and his medical exemption didn't pass the test, the Littman's test, he should have left. But because he tried to push and go on, and he had his visa formally stripped not once but twice, he is now barred from Australia for 3 years. He is not allowed to get a visa for 3 years.
I didn't know
So
that. Yeah.
he's 34 years old.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is his most successful slam. He wanted this one bad because this is the slam that would have put him above Federer and Rafa.
Yeah.
And now you're not going to play there for 3 years. And given how hard they came down, I'm sure that he will try to get that overturned so that he can go next year or whatever, but I don't see it happening. I didn't stay up for the verdict because, Australia, they live in the fucking future. Like I can't
They're 15 hours ahead
around it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So I went to bed, and at like 3:00, I turn my phone off every night. Do not disturb. You cannot get me. I forgot. About 3 a.m. Ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I'm like, holy shit, they actually did it, because I really didn't think they would at the beginning. I thought, he's got all these people, Tennis Australia, Greg Tilley, who is the director of the Australian Open, like the big guy there. Like everything seemed to be going his way and people are on his side. I mean, it was so messy. Can I just tell you too, that his legal team put in their formal argument as to why he should be allowed to stay, an online poll that was published in a trash magazine. Should Novak Djokovic be allowed to play the Australian Open, yes or no? And they actually took a screenshot of it and presented it as though
they
that
really
had
did that
merit.
in court. Oh wow, that's a Mickey Mouse shit, man. That's the Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, they really did.
They're lawyers, right?
I mean,
they got law degrees and did that.
Yes,
a screenshot.
Yeah, and apparently they're supposed to be very, very good, very, very good.
You know what? See, and God, this is the Libra in me in defending a bunch of this stuff that you just said, right? So number one, you can't blame Djokovic for asking for the verdict to be given like in 30 minutes because no one else has done it. Hey, maybe y'all should have asked too. How about that? Sure. But I mean, yes, it makes him look like a jerk. But hey, maybe you should have done the same thing, right? But of course, we know how asinine that is.
Right.
Oh my God. Then okay, you go to the court of public opinion because they're the ones that's watching the tournament. And you want to try to prove to, I guess, the country that, hey, if I'm not in it, no one else is going to watch it. So why not listen to this poll? Again, as asinine as it is.
I got thoughts on that too. But
I mean, I would question my attorneys if they were to do something like that, but I can see where they're coming from. But it also lets you know how smart his attorneys are if I thought about this stuff. If you could,
I'm
just thinking about this,
like,
they're not too right.
But we're talking about little bits and pieces, right? And honestly, I think that was there because they didn't have much to grasp on.
Right, yeah, that's obvious.
He actually, the first time that his visa was taken away and then kind of reinstated, it was a technicality. It wasn't because they actually thought that he should be there. What it came down to was he was detained when he got to the country and the people in Australia weren't awake yet. And he asked for 40 more minutes. Okay. And they said, yes, we'll give you that time. He said, can I have this amount of time so that I can make some phone calls and be able to talk to people? I'm not going to be able to reach them now because their day hasn't started yet. So the immigration person said yes. And then the immigration person came back and said, you know what? No, because you can't call and ask for help until your visa has been revoked. So it doesn't make sense for us to let you sit here just to let time pass when there's nothing that you can do about it anyways. Right. So he legally couldn't ask for help until that visa had been revoked, but they said he could have the time. Then they took the time away, and them taking that time away after they said yes is actually what got him that appeals hearing. The judge said, yes, you should have given him that time. You said that you were going to give it to him, and then you didn't, because those lawyers went hard on that. And it was true, even though it wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever. Right. So the initial process really was all just a technicality anyways. It wasn't that they said, yes, you can come, no, you can't, that got the appeal. It wasn't like that at all. But he was like, oh, I won, and here I am on the tennis court. I mean, it's been a fucking shit show. Tennis is never in the news for a good reason, ever. And then this, and I mean, like, fuck you, Novak. The Australian Open's not going to go on without you. It's been on for a long time.
Right.
It's going to be around for a long time. And your motherfucking ass is not the one that sells tickets. We've been over this over and over and over again. It's not you.
It's the
not
women.
You.
It's the women mostly. I think it's the women.
Well, it's Serena and it's Roger, and neither one of them are there.
Yeah.
I mean, they are the ones who put asses in seats day in and day out, tournament to tournament. That's who sells the tickets, and they're not there. And he knows this. He fucking knows it. He knows people don't like him. We don't like him.
But he wants to be loved. But the thing is that you have also people there like Naomi Osaka is there, and like a few others, but
sure.
I mean, but the thing is, to your point, Novak is not the end all be all. No one gives a shit. No one goes to see it. They go to see him lose, but they don't go to see it.
It would have been interesting had he got to play, because typically
Rafa Nadal's there. I mean, come on.
He is there. And Rafa, I was happy. He is like, listen, quit asking me about this.
Yeah.
Because they're asking every player, what do you think?
Of course.
What do you think?
Yeah.
But you know what? Listen, nobody, it's move on. Like, fucking get vaccinated. Because his attorneys tried to say, well, he has the opportunity to get vaccinated. It's a choice that he can make. And the judge said, you know what, you're right. But let's be honest. There's plenty of stuff out there that he has put into the world, basically saying that he's against getting vaccinated for COVID-19. He said, and the vaccine's been out for over a year. If he was going to do it, he would have done it. So you don't get to come to me and say, he might still. I mean, it's just all complete bullshit. And really, just to bring it back around, what infuriates me more than anything is that he really could have turned this into something for the good of the people, because he tries so hard to present himself as a philanthropist and this doer of good. He could have brought to light that there are people, including children, who were in the same building being detained as him, who have not yet had a hearing, and they've been there for almost a decade. Why not use your money? You want a personal chef? Say, I want my chef to come in and I want to feed all of these people, not just me. Have your attorneys at least say, why was I able to get a hearing within hours, but there are all these people in here who can't be heard, and they've been here for years? Like, that would have been a good moment. But no, the selfish fucking bastard just says, me, 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 me. And these so-called tennis journalisms, I'm telling you what, I will be in a room with Novak Djokovic one day. And I don't care if it's next year, this year, 5 years from now, you better believe I'm going to ask him why he didn't do that. And any responsible journalist would do the same. But tennis is, they're all fucktards, most of them. And they're not going to ask. They're not going to ask because you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to maybe lose your access. But, this is what real journalism is all about. Right. Ask the tough questions. Put them on the damn spot. Yeah. But I highly doubt, if someone does it, great, but I highly doubt it. All I saw throughout this was people who are, who have their foot in the door capitalized to get them on TV. Y'all saw people on CNN that you've never seen and who you've never known cover tennis, but they were all there because they're on the ground in Australia, and all these major news networks wanted somebody that knew something, because nobody covers this shit. Let's be real. You didn't know who Novak Djokovic was before they were trying to strip his visa, even though he's been the #1 player in the world for God only knows how long. The majority of the people don't know him. So it's just a fucking mess. Hey, but the guy that took his place was a lucky loser, and he did win his first round match, so that's good.
There you go. There's a going out there. But let me ask you this. You mentioned the detainees. I'm just curious. I'm assuming that they're for various reasons, but it's mostly due to immigration. Is it COVID, or do you have an idea why?
Well, it's immigration. I mean, you figure anybody that's been there for longer than 2 years, it can't possibly be COVID. So it's not even an option, right? So it's just, whatever, for whatever reason we detain people, we never talk about them. We've got them here in our country.
Yeah.
I don't know where they are. I don't know where they're being held. I don't know how long they've been there. Nobody's covering that story. So, you know, some ignorant white people, I'm sure, had the nerve to say that he was having like a Muhammad Ali moment or something. Like, no.
Please don't let me hear him say that out loud.
It's right. And, you know, on my podcast, we were just like, yeah, no black people said that. Shut that shit down. We're not talking about that here because didn't one black person say that? Because if he was having that moment, he would have said, look at all these other people. Or, you know what? I'm going to make my point and take my ass home. And I'm going to bring light to what's really going on here. Yeah. Not, can I have a tennis court and a chef?
It's crazy. So, okay, so he has the visa stripped for 3 years from Australia. Yes. So cannot, at least for 3 years, cannot go back. He can't defend. Well, he can't defend it next year because someone else would have won it. Yeah. So.
Can I add one more thing before you go on? Can we remember the Naomi Osaka issue where she didn't want to do press, right?
Right.
Remember when she didn't want to do press? All 4 Grand Slams came down on her with a vengeance and basically said, you know what? If you're not going to talk to the press, we don't want you here. You can't come here. And Paris, where she was at the French Open, you know, they said the same thing. And she said, all right, I'm not going to play. And she left. But let us remember that every single Grand Slam came together to come down on her. This black woman. Right? They ain't said a fucking thing about Novak. After it was all said and done, the French Open is the next major coming up. Paris just put in, well, not Paris, but France put in a law that you have to be vaccinated to enter the country. So that's going to exclude him. There's no exemption. So that will exclude him. But
I was going to ask that. Yeah, I was going to ask that question. Yeah.
Where were they when all this was going on? Where were you? Why weren't you there with Tennis Australia saying, we don't want you here, and if you want to come here, you better get vaccinated? Nobody said a word.
Or
Nobody
US
said
Open,
a word.
For that matter, US Open, Wimbledon.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what the protocol is in England right now. I believe you have to be vaccinated.
I think you do.
But I'm not 100% sure about that. But it's like he's jeopardizing his entire legacy over a shot.
Yeah.
That's the second time I've heard that said this week, Janina, was that's exactly what's going on with this decision that he's making because of where he may and may not be able to play. Right? And you bring up the US Open, Scott, you know we don't care here. They'll probably allow him to play here, shot or no shot. Look at the NFL and look at the NBA with the players that are currently playing right now that choose not to have shots.
That's very true.
But you know what?
Oh, go ahead.
Dwayne, you have to remember, though, this is an international sport where everybody's traveling globally. Everybody in the NBA, they're here. So we can we can manage that a little bit better as a country.
Gotcha.
It could be a little bit different for international travel for athletes. I mean, I don't know, but that seems to be the way it's going in other major tennis events. And I really think that's why, because everybody's coming from everywhere. Right. So it makes more sense to, even if you're only going to single out this group of athletes, to say, y'all need to be vaccinated because I don't know where the fuck your mouth's been, right? Like, so we'll see. And I agree, because for the most part, the US is like, yeah, come on in. But I don't know how that's going to work. I really don't. But I would like the majors to come together and make a joint statement like they did
same
for
way
Osaka.
Exactly.
Osaka, yeah. That's
sorry, motherfuckers.
Yeah, right. I mean, seriously, you're right. You're right. But damn, I mean, so you said that. I mean, France about to put in a vaccination protocol. I mean, like I said, every country, to my knowledge, has some sort of, even here, has a form of a COVID protocol of sorts for international travel.
For sure.
So I don't know how Novak's going to get around that.
Well, he has repeatedly shown us, and not just here, many other times, that he doesn't care about what the rules are. I mean, I don't know if you guys are aware, but at the beginning of COVID, early 2020, he thought it would be a great idea to have this tournament called the Adria Tour. And he brought all these players from all over the world at the very beginning of the pandemic when we didn't know what the fuck was going on. He didn't have any social distancing in place. No one was wearing a mask. They were posting photos and videos of them out at nightclubs. And the Adria Tour wasn't in one place. It was called the Adria Tour because it went from place to place to place all around Serbia. Well, when it was all said and done, it turned out that that was a super spreader event. Like over and over and over. And this was his baby. This was his idea. He created it. He caught some backlash for it at the moment, but he tried to focus it as we need something positive right now in the midst of all this doom and gloom.
Oh, technically he was right. A positive test.
There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just been a fucking fiasco. It's been a fiasco.
So yeah, God. Yeah.
Right. What do you even say?
For a guy who, right? So a guy who wants to be liked and loved so bad, he's doing a lot of things that makes him hate it, and just shoots himself in the foot every goddamn time.
His father was likening him to Jesus and being persecuted.
Oh no! Stop that.
Yes, like the whole fucking family's crazy. His father is on TV in Serbia with mass crowds behind him saying that if his visa doesn't get reinstated, we're gonna go to the streets. Not one mask on. Hundreds, if not thousands of
people. Are they the south of Europe? Are they the southern? Are they the deep south of Europe? I mean,
maybe we could just pick them up and stick them in Mississippi, right? I don't know, but
maybe.
Fuck, like it's just so bad. Like I hey, if Novak ruins his legacy over COVID, I ain't mad, motherfucker. I like you anyways. But you're stupid. Like this is so dumb. This is all avoidable. Either say the responsible thing to do is to get vaccinated, or say I'm not vaccinated and I'm not coming. Mm-hmm. That's it. You don't have any other choices. That's it.
Wow. You know what the messed up part about the whole thing is? It's overshadowing what's going on in Australia Open.
But the entire tournament, yeah.
I mean, you got like Andy Murray's back for what it's worth.